Hey guys, apologies for my floating head in the darkness. Look, at the minute I'm just at work and I thought I'd take a sneaky 10-minute break just to come up and make this week's video for Gender Queer Chat. So our topic this week is what will gender be like in 10 years. So yeah, I agree with I guess Matt and the whole utopian view that in an ideal world, in 10 years time, not maybe that there wouldn't be anything at all as gender, but that maybe gender wouldn't be so heavily kind of, policed or enforced or I guess that it wasn't so heavily binary, that people would be able to open their minds a bit more, and that the categories of he and she could be expanded, so that people in the he category would be people who were born male-bodied and identify as such, but also people who were born female-bodied but also identify as he. And similarly, that anybody in the female category could be people who were born female-bodied and identify as female, but also people who were born male-bodied and identify as female. I mean, obviously that's a huge kind of mind shift, and people would have to become really open-minded. But I think, in a world with those two categories, had a lot more kind of wiggle room for somebody who's female-bodied to say that they identify as he, and they will be seen as he without having to take any medical steps, any transitioning or anything like that. It would just be understood that they were he, and they wanted to be treated as such. So, like Matt said, that's kind of a real utopian view. I think the reality of it is that there has been progress, but things move very slowly. I think in 10 years' time, there will be a lot more variety in terms of gender expression. So definitely the way people express themselves. I mean, fashion trends, how people look, it may become more and more acceptable for guys to wear, clothes that are kind of designated to be more, female. I mean, I think kind of female body people maybe have it slightly easier in that respect, as kind of, we can wear jeans, today I'm wearing a blazer and things like that, and people, kind of, it's maybe not as big of an issue. So I've been sort of thinking about, if things were to change in a massive way, how would that work? And to me, it seems to all come down to numbers. Really, for any major change to happen in the world, there just has to be a large number of people who want that to change. And I think maybe that's where the trans movement, genderqueer movements and things like that are up against it, in that, it's certainly not rare. There are a lot of people, and a lot more people now, who are coming forward or who are understanding that there are other ways to be. And more people who are kind of coming forward as transgender. But if you're not transgender yourself, or you don't have maybe a partner or a family member who is trans, then it probably really isn't on your radar, and isn't ever going to be on your radar. It's maybe not something that people think about, unless they're directly affected by it. And there is really no reason for people in the general public who aren't affected by these issues to really want to take them up, as their own cause, or really to help, advance the cause of transgender people, if it doesn't really affect their own lives. So, I definitely think, it's just down to numbers, that there aren't, as many trans people as there are other groups of people. So, and there obviously is a lot more visibility now, and there are great things being done in trans movements and things like that. But it's going to be a slow burn, I think. But like the others have said, there is progress. So who knows how long it'll take before there's a real major shift in the way we understand and the way we think about gender. I mean, I'd say that that's probably quite far off. But you know, we can always be hopeful and maybe do what we can, however uncomfortable sometimes it can be to talk about these things, or I find at the moment that it is anyway. You know, there's always an opportunity to talk to people and engage in conversations about it. So just sort of on a slightly related topic, I watched a really good TEDx talk. If anybody has the TED app on their phone or visit the TED website, I watched a really good talk today by an artist and photographer called Io Tillett-Wright. And her talk is called 50 Shades of Gay, and it is her, it's an art project that she started up in which she plans to document 10,000 people who in America who identify as anything other than 100% straight. It's a really interesting talk. It talks about how when she was younger, she wanted to be a boy and she dressed like a boy, and everybody thought she was a boy for quite a long time. She talks about her own kind of struggles with finding out her own identity and her place in the world. And also about, you know, as we've talked about often, or as other people have talked about on this channel, that, you know, gender, sexuality, all of that is on a spectrum. And she talks about that as well. So it's a really good, really kind of inspiring thing to watch. So if you wanted to kind of treat yourself on this Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, whatever time it happens to be in your particular time zone, I really recommend it. So I'm going to go and eat my lunch now, get a cup of tea, and get back on to my working day. It's beautiful weather here in Belfast, although you obviously probably can't see that from the dark room that I'm in. But yeah, everybody have a good weekend. Cheerio.